Training coordinator, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, my friend Alex Fulton in the building. We've got Pittsburgh Works until 8, and then we're going to tell you all about the open house this Saturday, in which the Pratt Pack edition, 5 a.m. until 1, will be broadcasting live on location. Alex, great to see you again. Let's just talk about why the future is bright for the Carpenters Union. And for those who are thinking about putting that tool belt on, you and I were talking moments ago. I mean, look around what's happening. You've got the Homer City project, the data center, natural gas power plant, $10 billion investment. There'll be thousands working there, similar to what went on with the cracker plant. And there's possibilities of other things happening. 3 Mile Island's name has been mentioned. So work will be plentiful for generations to come in the Carpenters Union. So now is the time to apply within, correct?
It is a fantastic time, Rob. Again, thank you so much for having me. The Carpenters and just our area in general is a fantastic opportunity for so many people. There is a lot of money being invested, as you said, in data centers and infrastructure, schools. I live in Bethel Park, and we have a brand new elementary center going up in Bethel Park, which we have all of our members working on. So it's just a great time, great opportunity.
You know, the Carpenters also do work for people like AHN, people like UPMC. So the brand is really wide, is it not?
It is.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Eastern Atlantic States Carpenters Technical Center. No longer KML Apprenticeship and Training Fund. 4,200 apprentices, 6 states plus Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia training centers. So fill us in. Go ahead.
Really exciting time in the training fund. We just merged with several other training funds from the states that you just mentioned. So we are now, as a fund, in 6 states plus Washington, D.C., 4,200 apprentices, 18 training centers. So pooling our resources is going to allow us to offer even better training, better opportunities. With so many projects coming down the pipeline, we have a lot of training needs. So whether that's offshore wind, whether that's mass timber framing, which is a brand new process to our area. They've been doing it in Europe for several years. They've been doing it in the Pacific Northwest. But that's a situation where the structural elements of a building, instead of being concrete and steel, are laminated timbers. And so that's something brand new, and we need to have training on that. So we have a new class running in June for that. So we have an ability to offer just even better training to our members than we ever have.
See, it's all about the future. Those who will be wearing these tool belts into really the rest of this decade, and obviously beyond the rest of the century, because there's going to be so much going on. One thing is for sure, hammer to nail never stops. But here's the question. Somebody listening right now, mom, dad, grandparents, or even the child themselves, high school, getting ready to graduate in just a couple of months, wants to do it, wants to get involved, but they don't know exactly what part of the Carpenters Union fits them the best. No need to worry, because you'll help them along the way, right?
Absolutely. So the first step in our application process, and you mentioned our open house, that's happening Saturday, May 3rd, so this Saturday. We have 2 information sessions, one at 9 a.m., one at noon. During that information session, we fill you in on everything you need to know about the Carpenters Union, about the apprenticeship. We train 6 different crafts there, so you're not just coming there to learn carpentry. People think carpentry and they think home building, but we do large-scale commercial construction. So we have commercial carpentry, we have floor layers, doing all kinds of flooring. We have heavy highway carpenters doing bridges and tunnels, locks and dams, things like that. Pile drivers doing heavy foundation work. We have mill cabinet carpenters building custom millwork. And we have millwrights that are industrial mechanics working in power plants, installing and maintaining gas and steam turbines. So whatever you like to do, there is a place for you in the Carpenters.
So decades ago, I'm doing the overnight show, and I had a gentleman who was a carpenter who was a part of a dam that was being floated down the Mon. And on his lunch break, every night, for weeks, he would call me. That's when I realized carpenters were more than just hammer, nail, and saw. This is a process that only is as much as your imagination will allow. There are so many things that carpenters do that are absolutely incredibly amazing, and we'll talk about it with Alex as we go through the hour. And by the way, the open house, tell them, I don't care if you're from the Panhandle of West Virginia, Eastern Ohio, Pennsylvania, if you're listening on the Odyssey app, anywhere up and down the coast, you name it, everyone is welcome to come to the open house, right?
Anybody and everybody.
So tell everybody where you're located, just so they have an idea of where you're at.
So we are on 652 Ridge Road in Pittsburgh, PA, and we are right off the Parkway. So if you've been driving out to the airport, you've probably looked up and seen that big red building on the side of the road. It says Carpenters Training Center. That is where we are located.
You know, people need to understand, too, when you go to this place, It's a sanctuary. They're going to make you feel at home if you come to the open house. They'll have some food and obviously all sorts of information that you can use. And I follow you guys on all your social media outlets. And what I see what the men and women are doing across the country, and by building the brand, and you mentioned Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. I see something from the Philadelphia Carpenters. I plug into that. Everybody has that secret sauce. You all add something with your own recipe that makes it even better, right?
That's absolutely correct. It's amazing to see what the Carpenters do day to day, the way that they volunteer, the people that they're able to help, the way they help out each other. It's a great organization to be a part of.
You know, in my opinion, when I look back at all I've learned during my years of, Mr. Gilberti and obviously Rico Kraszewski, Mr. Watercott, all these people that I've been around and now meeting that next generation, I don't think the Carpenters Union, the future has ever been as bright as it is right now.
It definitely is not, especially for people coming in. I came from a generation, I'm a millennial, the best generation. And one of the things, though, that, my parents were not very happy when I told them I wanted to join the Carpenters Union. They were from the generation that somebody going into a trade, that was a step backwards. They were teachers, so they didn't think that was a good way to go. They wanted me to go to college. And because so many people in my generation were discouraged from going into the trades, we have a shortage of leadership, of people my age that should be going into these positions. So if you're a young person and you're coming in now, these career advancement opportunities, being a foreman, a superintendent, a project manager, an estimator, these positions are going to be available earlier than they ever have before, because my generation was discouraged. And that has done a complete turnaround in my time in the Carpenters, which is great to see. The schools, guidance counselors, people are encouraging this path, and the opportunity has never been greater.
Imagine being paid to train and not having student loan debt when you get out. You go to work, you're making a livable income. And this is what I learned about the Carpenters my very first visit, Alex, to your training center. They take care of their own. Great benefits, great pension. When you're working for your future. Every day you pull out that hammer, you are basically working on your future. Post being a carpenter, many will matriculate through the union and become a part of administration after they have pounded enough nails to last a lifetime. So there's always room for advancement. The very first day to the last day, you always have a chance to advance, right?
Absolutely. I use my brother-in-law as an example. His name's Zach. He got into the Carpenters Union right out of high school, got into the apprenticeship. So in 4 years, he was finishing up his apprenticeship, journeying out, and a lot of his friends had gone to college, taken on a lot of debt. Might have had $50,000 to $100,000 in debt. He was making a journeyman wage, had no debt. He had lived at home all through his apprenticeship, so he was able to save a lot of money, and he was basically able to buy a house pretty much for cash, shortly after journeying out. So he barely has a mortgage at this point, no college debt, and everybody else has college debt plus a mortgage and making less money than he was. So it's a really great opportunity.
All right, so we're all going to be there. The open house. Steve Mazza will be there. Alex will be there. All these folks will be there. Some of the apprentices, they're going to be making Star Wars-like picnic tables for a charity of choice. All sorts of incredible things that are going to be happening that day. We'd love to see you at the Carpenters Union. It's the open house coming up this Saturday, and I'll be broadcasting beginning at 5 a.m. in the morning. EAScarpenterstech.edu. Plug in. Get started off on the right foot for the rest of your life. EAScarpenterstech.edu. Apprenticeship program. What's it all about? Alex and I will fill you in next on this special edition of Pittsburgh Works with the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters on KDKA.